one at 11:30 a.m. here at DragonCon. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you. So you're here at Building Yourself versus Building Your Community. And we have our wonderful guests that we're going to introduce real soon after we read this wonderful text here. So remember, the DragonCon charity partner for 2023 is Cure, everyone. Cure is dedicated to conquering childhood cancer through funding targeted research while supporting patients and their families. Use the QR codes right there. Everybody scan that. Yeah. I do this like literally pull out, I'm watching, pull out your phones, scan that code for me. Even if you just need to get that click through link, scan those codes to donate and DragonCon will match up to $125,000. That's a lot of money I don't have. So let's get them there. Now, our track sponsor for 2023 is Zakat. For over 22 years, they've been empowering lives through disaster relief, food distribution, orphan care, and more. Their top-notch ratings from Charity Navigator and Triple B Wise Giving Alliance means your contributions are going to make a difference. So please visit zakat.org. Now, with that, we're going to introduce our guests, and then I'm going to introduce this panel. So we're going to start right here and just go down. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? And what do you do?
Phaedra Black. I am from here in Atlanta. I grew up here. I know that's rare. I am a multi-platform content creator that at this point, I think I specialize in constantly rebuilding my platforms.
I feel that. With yeah. Everyone, welcome, Phaedra. Hi.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric. I go by Hey Good on the internet, HEYGUDE. That's right there. I am a full-time content creator, podcast host, Twitch streamer, TikToker guy. Pretty standard like content creation stuff. I've been doing it full-time for about 2 years, and I'm very happy. Hi, Leah. Nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Hi.
Hi, I'm Casey Morris. I'm the owner of Seaworthy Consulting. It is a digital marketing solutions business specifically to support small businesses. I worked in the corporate world here in Atlanta for 10 years, and now I'm supporting small businesses. And I am living in Orlando now and originally from Auburn, Alabama.
I'm going to have so many questions to ask you. Yes,
That's
I can already see it. Yeah, exactly.
You need to step up to the mic and get in line.
Yeah, I know, I do. You're right. I'm going to be a guest at my own panel. Thank you. Hi, you look gorgeous.
It's so nice
Welcome
to see you.
in. It's wonderful to see you.
Who am I? Oh, Tyra Burton. That's it. We are the marketers on this panel, I think. So I'm a professor of marketing at Kennesaw State University. I specialize in social media and digital marketing, and I do some of the social for this track occasionally.
I love it. And of course, last but not least,
I am the rock out of podcasting, Charles McFall, the director of the track. I am local, and I happily drink my own Kool-Aid to build myself up.
there you go.
You got to.
Got
And
it.
Phaedra, I'm a native too.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, so y'all, this is a DragonCon first where you have two locals on one panel. That is actually lightning in a bottle for me. Thank you for being here.
Nobody's a real peach but us.
Oh, look at y'all. Ooh, can we get on a shirt? Can we put that? Can y'all just wear
Does that
that?
mean you have a very bitter pit?
Yeah.
I can be bitter,
Don't
yeah.
do this. Get them. Okay, before we break out into a fight, let me describe this panel before I have to run. So remember, making content professionally can often mean doing things that don't line up with your usual, or even, spending time on other channels, programs, things that just aren't your own platform. I'll say there was a long period of my career where I was spending more time streaming on other channels than my own. And that might have been good for me, but was that good for my community? And it kind of makes you realize that there's always going to be a fork in the road. There's always going to be a path that you have to divert to or figure out. Can you have both? But these are the questions that I'm going to ask our panelists today. So how do you decide when to do more outside of your own channel? And at what point does not focusing on your base start damaging your brand? Now, this is the second year of this panel at DragonCon, and that's how this all came about. I came into the space where I was like, man, am I doing the right thing? So I want to start with that general question with y'all, but also I very much prefer a general discussion. So if y'all just want to just talk to each other, please do. And if y'all, we'll hold y'all school. Y'all can be a part of the discussion later, but we can do this discussion. We can make that happen for y'all at the end of this. So let's start with that. At what point did y'all think, man, this is really good for me, but is this good for my business? Is this good for my community? Is this good for the other thing that I'm trying to build? Because it does start to divert. Y'all want to start with that? Because, I could go all day. Now, Casey, I'm looking at you because it's really interesting. And I know y'all probably have this experience as well, but it's really interesting to have like a business where you're literally like in your job description, you are supporting other teams. So now you have to think about other people who are also running other communities or other jobs, which I think is uniquely different because my community, they're just like, well, Chelsea's not on today. She's not streaming. I can just go home and just do It's not as, I don't think there's as much stake in it as it would be for you. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I want my clients to succeed. That is like my number one goal. So, I'm constantly there, and I consider myself a consultant. I'm not just a marketer. So I will, kind of try to push them to do things that I think is going to work best. I'm coming in from it. I'm creative, but I'm also analytical. So I'm thinking about, what are the algorithms going to do? Like, what do I need to do for the algorithms? So like for me, I think, you've got your community, you've got your content. There's no rule that says you can't pre-shoot and schedule a lot of content while you're working on other stuff.
Oh my God, Casey's calling me out. Oh my God, like being responsible, like creator and pre-shooting your stuff. Wow.
It's easier said than done, because you have to have time to do that. But
I live by that. I will record 60, 70 TikTok drafts at once. And then I have stuff to post for like 2 or 3 weeks for the adult side content. Like I will do 15 different sets sometimes at once and just be done. And then I don't have to work technically on that part for the next month. And now the rest of that month is just the actual, interacting with your community and social media and doing those things. But you can kind of differentiate how you do it, because you still have to go back and edit it all too.
Yeah.
Well, let me put y'all on the spot then, because y'all were at the last panel. Yes, both of you.
Yeah.
Did y'all solve that problem of what's good for you? Did you find that balance this year? Yeah. Did you realize that this was a mentorship panel and actually we're here to hold you accountable? So yeah, like what did y'all learn?
I also haven't been flossing. I figured I should just tell you that.
Let me call your dentist.
No, I mean, this past year has been kind of a whirlwind for me and my partner. We got a big project that I'm not allowed to talk about.
We love NDAs.
I gotta love those NDAs. But it's a big project. It's a longer form project, and it's a project that it's real hard to do anything else while you're working on it. And so pretty much for the past 8 months, I mean, frankly, I feel like I've been kind of neglecting my community, which feels not great.
Yeah.
But I think I'm at a point where I sort of need to step back and go what am I doing here? What is this for?
Mm-hmm.
Is because it stopped. I think I got too close to it, and it started becoming less and less about in those early days when it first starts happening, you start growing a community and holy shit, these people care about me. Excuse me. It's very communal. It's very I would wake up and think what can I do to make these people that trust me or trust me, looking at my face at least, or listening to my voice. What can I do to make these people's lives a little bit better today? That was the question every day. And after a couple of years, I started to get sort of further away from that, and it started becoming not consciously, but I started, it became more about, numbers and stuff. And that sucked. And so it started to feel,
it just gets in the way. How dare that thing?
I should have, right. But I started losing track of this isn't for me, this is for them kind of, mentality. And so as much as it does feel kind of bad, I haven't streamed in 8 months or something. I know that I need to get back in touch with that. Why did I start doing this in the first place? What is this for? In order to, helm the ship, I suppose.
Exactly.
So I think in that way, by helping myself, by stepping back, by doing other types of work, I'm hopefully realigning myself such that when I do jump back into more community focused stuff, I'm clearer about it. I'm more centered. I'm more understanding of, I mean, the content creation game can so quickly just become about making the numbers do big things.
Yes.
But you gotta gotta remember, like, why am I doing this in the first
Oh,
place?
no, you did the homework assignment. That's insane. It took you did over the year. You didn't forget. That's really
Oh, well,
impressive.
thanks. Yeah.
No, seriously, because I think it's really bold for you. And as y'all go on your creation journeys, your professional journeys, you making those big decisions to step back for yourself or change positions and roles, it's hard. But you did it. And while you felt bad, but you knew where
Still
you
feel
had
bad.
to. I know, but you were like, I'm going on a journey. I'm going on there's a goal to it because I'm going through the same thing right now. So I started a new job too. And now the job is kind of calling me out a little bit because it's teaching me how to be a good community, leader. But they're paying me to do it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm over here just putting my foot into this paid project. But my people, they get me when they can. So
Bills, you know?
yeah, it's very much like, wow, thank you for like showing me how to run a Discord and how to, update people daily and all that. But my people aren't getting that. So it's been 4 months and I'm going through that too, where I'm like, all you have to do is do what you're doing here at your job over there. So what are you doing? And please, if y'all want to speak
I got a follow-up question there. So you said streamed in 8 months
Ish.
and you said 4 months off and on. How do you feel? Because our audience has never come up and say, man, I really enjoy you and I'd love to have you back. They come up and go, what's wrong with you? Where's your material? How does that make you feel when it is a love, but it's also a smack in the face, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
that
okay.
hurts, man. Yeah,
No. Charles, you're going to speak on that after because you can't come over here asking us questions, okay? Like,
That's
I'm
my
the
time,
moderator.
everybody. I gotta go.
Yeah, no, you
But
better
I
answer
do
it.
feel like when people
Yeah.
do come up and ask, like, where have you been? What's wrong? Like, the fact that you're not making content at that time, but they still care and they want to see that content. That's kind of a like,
Yeah.
they noticed I wasn't around. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like a wake-up call to be like, oh my gosh, like,
Instead
one,
of
they're
being
noticing.
one of those content creators that you stop creating content and you just fade off into the distance and
Yeah.
nobody notices you're not there.
Mhm.
But for people to notice that you're not there and not making things like that shows in a way that you have some sort of impact on the community that you have created.
Mhm.
So
And
how'd
it's
you
kind of
know?
that kick in the behind to be like, maybe I should start doing stuff.
They talked about their feelings. How did you feel, Charles?
I don't get that very often, unfortunately. That's the thing. So you talk about the numbers, whatever. I know some of the shows I'm doing, I've got a good audience. So every once in a while, I'll intentionally like cut the ending off a little shorter, or maybe delay a day to put it out just to get that. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. But oh, you're there. Cool. So we ask for calls, we ask for the emails and stuff. TikToks. Get a lot of traction on TikTok, a lot of likes, 0 comments. Like, do I just have to be ugly to get comments? I don't know, but I honestly love it when even my wife came up to me one day and we're talking about side jobs, right, or the day jobs, and she literally said, "When are you going to stop taking jobs that takes you away from what you're doing?" And that was like the I forget the name of it. It makes it that zoom.
Yep,
Sounds like
that
okay.
literally-
Let me get my
that was a kick right in the butt. Okay,
That would hurt.
that's right in. Yeah, that's literally what this panel's about. So since you said that, I have to ask everyone here a question. So how do you decide when to do more outside of your role, your channel, your career, or when to do less? Because what's a good signal that tells you when you should be focusing your time elsewhere on your community? Please. It looks like you have something to say.
I do.
Please
So,
say it. Yeah.
We had started this conversation talking about when do you go outside of your channel? And the only way to really grow your channel is to go outside of it in many ways. So you have to take that step outside. And you want to step out with people who have communities that are similar. I'm going to say target market instead of community. But you have a target market. You have a type of person that likes your stuff. Go find other people who have the same type of communities and go guest. I haven't done a lot of original content lately, but I just did a whole fury of guesting on podcasts and streams, and I've loved it. So from that, I know I'm getting more hits, and I'm like, okay, I've got to get back behind my own camera and my own mic. But going to places where your people are so that they can find you, I think is important. I love collabs. I think doing collaborations is wonderful because it just spreads the joy of who you are and who loves you and connects with you. Hopefully will follow you, grow your community.
Okay, so I didn't know I was doing this, but I was following your 1-2 step guide of going on my podcast tour. Like,
The podcast tour is awesome.
it's amazing. I highly recommend it.
Can I
Sarah's
sign up
really
for a
smart.
podcast?
Right. Let's do that.
Dude, let me help you stream, man.
We should just like all do a podcast tour together, and that's collaboration, everybody.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Does anybody have like anything to add to that? Like, what was your signal to do less or more on your channel, or outside of your channel?
For me, it's a headspace thing. Like, I don't remember who said this originally, but it's hard to be sad and useful at the same time. So if I'm not feeling great about stuff for whatever reason, whether it's like a thing that actually happened or just general neurodivergency, I'll help like Katie, my partner, with her stuff. I'll edit her videos, or I'll help her with the Canva thing, because she's got a lot going on. So
when your brain's all scrambly, sometimes it's easier to help somebody else with their community than to work on your own, because in a way it's almost like there's a different sort of accomplishment that goes with that, because you're taking care of somebody else, you're helping somebody else, you're doing something that's not in your
did you find that made you feel better?
Yeah, I mean, how much easier is it to like clean somebody else's room than your own?
Right.
When it's your stuff, it like matters so much. What does this say about me as a person? But when it's somebody else's, especially if somebody like who you love very deeply, then it's like, of course they should be okay. Of course they should have help with this. Of course they deserve a competent whatever person helping them. Which, spoiler alert, so do you. You, the general you, and me, Eric, I'm talking to you. Yeah, doing stuff, it's really hard for me to drive the ship when I'm just filled with like uncertainty. It's hard to make stuff when I'm not 100% or up there. So yeah, generally if I'm feeling like not capable of driving the ship, then it's sort of like, all right, I'll do other stuff, I'll help other people with stuff, because it's really hard for me to like hold the wheel and make my own stuff when I am just whatever.
No, I like that. It's a gut thing. It's truly
exactly.
you follow your gut, your feelings, because you only know yourself. I can't get into your head. I can't decide what's good for you because you feel it. That's very visceral, because you have to feel in every single domain of your life, when you're at work, when you're with your family, when you're with your friends. How does sitting there and spending that time and making that choice to move forward, to go on that plan, how does that make you feel? And that's important, because you're building whoever you are in whatever you're doing. Excuse this water bottle. My bad. Didn't mean to touch that. But I didn't want to. I'm sorry.
And I saw you forgot. I'm Charles.
Thank you. Yes, Charles. Yes, I got you, Charles. Okay. But no, that's good. So please find your center. And it's gonna be, I know people ask that question. Well, how do you do this? I'm like, baby, you gotta know yourself. You gotta sit and
put on
know
your own
yourself.
oxygen mask.
Exactly. Beautiful. Please?
I just got a life coach, and I know you did as well.
Business coach.
Business coach. Mine's a life coach, and it has been life changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got the impetus to do it from being on a podcast talking about creativity. And I was like, I cannot do all the things. I have to have somebody help me figure this out. And it's really been helpful to find the center and trying to figure out what's important and what I need to be doing and what I need to say no to. So I totally suggest them.
I heard every great successful person needs a coach and a therapist.
For real? Oh my God. So no, that's you though. So you are a lot of people's guiding posts. Like, how do you find the spoons to guide yourself?
Yeah.
After you just guided everybody else to their destination?
I'm just like a machine at this point. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I'm in this now for 13 years.
Wow.
Again, like creating content for businesses. And now I'm doing it for multiple different kinds of businesses, different sizes, different target audiences. So, it's just kind of like old hat at this point, but that's why I love doing like the consulting side, because I do get to work with different businesses and they all have different needs. So that keeps it like fun and exciting to me. Yes. There's also always new algorithm changes to learn, which I did want to speak to. You were asking about like, what are the signals to figure out if you want to do more or less. So, again, you look at those numbers, you look at what your audience is doing to influence the algorithm to show your content to more people. So if you see your engagement dropping off, your likes, your subscribes, your comments, that might mean that you're posting too much, because if you're posting stuff and no one's engaging with it, it's not going to be shown on the algorithms as much. If you're posting and you're seeing your numbers go up and you're seeing a lot of engagement, that's a signal to post more.
Oh God.
It's a balance of like,
Yeah.
especially with TikTok for sure. It's like if you're posting too much, your stuff is oversaturated people's feeds and they get really bored. They're like, oh my God, it's you again.
They get used to just being like, oh, no.
But if you don't post enough,
Yep.
then it's like it's not being pushed out there and getting the and I have to start over with this constantly because, like, I said before, I'm on like my 5th, 6th TikTok account or whatever. So trying to reset the algorithms on every new account and refine that target audience. And when you're talking about like communities and stuff like that, and what you're doing is every time I restart the TikTok account, I kind of go through it in a slightly different approach. Like I tweak the content a little bit. Like I focus more on, mental health on one, I focus more on adult content on another. I focus more on, like it's, where is it kind of going? Like what happens? What gets the most like,
Oh, I'm gonna pick on you now. Okay. So you just described that you do a whole bunch of different content. And some of y'all might not know this about her, but how do you decide which one to feed? And on top of that, like you also talked about how you have more adult content versus how you have like a child on the side who's also visits sometime. Like, how do you, like, I know everybody here has a family because we don't talk about the human element enough. Like also feeding that part of your life as well. Like man.
See, and I put the human element in
Yes.
everything that I do.
Exactly. Let me frame this real quick. So y'all can do not marry your manager. I'm gonna say this every year. And because your whole work-life balance becomes work. Oh my God. And I love them to death. But if we sit up and do another 16-hour work day again next week, I will scream. So I want to know from y'all, and especially you, because you've got a whole bunch going on and you put it all out there. The balance between feeding your family with your support time and energy, your work, and then diving into that work and deciding what to share from there. I know that's a lot, but sum it up for us.
Well, like for a lot of it is scheduling.
Yes.
It's like you have your paycheck job, even if, because I do content full time, but this economy, you need jobs. So you have that, you have kids, you have relationships, and then you have to pick and choose like what you're sharing. Like I share a lot about what goes on in my head. I share a lot about what goes on in my life, but it's also trying to figure out what you hold back as far as putting everything out there. But I'm not one of those people that holds a lot back. Because my content, when I was really because I really started doing with TikTok was when I had a lot of my own mental health struggles. And for some odd, strange reason, I put it all out there.
Mm-hmm.
All out there. But people related to that. And it was a time where we were all coming out of COVID and everybody felt so isolated that they felt that their emotions and their feelings were something that nobody else had. Mm-hmm. So seeing people having those same thoughts and feelings, that people related to it a lot. Mm-hmm. I talk about my divorce with my ex-husband and my daughter, and sometimes, the guilt that you have with that and all of the, but you're doing the right thing for yourself. But you still have guilt for uprooting everybody's life that you've had around for 10 years. And, people related to that because that is a guilt that people have. You're doing what's best for you in the long run. And now it's been great because now my ex-husband are actually friends. Like we're friends, and it's a really crazy thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So I want to, because you put a really good piece there. I can't imagine like every person's an onion. I know it's not a great smell, but the layers that comes to it through these, like, I can't imagine how you have to decide like, okay, I'm going through this very serious thing with my family. I have to not feel guilty and, spend time with them. But then I also want to build myself while I'm doing this. Like, I don't want to just neglect that. Like, how was that journey? Like, I don't want to dive into it, but yeah.
For me, it was also the not feeling like I was dealing with it alone. Because, that isolation in yourself where you feel like you're just you versus the world.
Yes.
And having people just, care about it. Be like, oh, having a good day, whatever. Was really empowering in a way. Like I joke that I started the adult content, not for the money, which is great, but for the confidence boost. Because in the middle of my divorce, it's like my self-esteem and, was down here. And there is something empowering about waking up to 50 messages from dudes going, "Good morning, beautiful. I hope you have a great day."
Oh my God. I like that. I like that a lot.
What that did for just being able to function when you're at one of your lowest points in life. But then it wasn't, and maybe not everybody can do this because this requires a lot of compartmentalization, is being able to interact back with those people and be like, well, how's your day? And maintain the conversations where it's not just, oh, thank you, bye, give me your money. That's not me. That's not how I work.
Yes. No, I like that. I want to pick that up and hold that for later. But I think the way that your community feeds you helps you decide, of course, as well, how you build yourself versus going out and doing other things and putting your work aside. I want to hear from y'all too. Seriously, when it comes to sitting up and you're just deciding okay, how am I going to get up and do this today? What do what's that obstacle that you've had to come over or just cross any bridge where you were like, I'm going to pick me today?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest obstacle every day, I think, is me. Always.
99% of our problems are us. Is that what you're telling?
I mean, I think that's generally true for everybody, because there's only one person with that much power over you, and it's you. So yeah, every day I think, for me, I struggle a lot with all or nothing thinking. If something is going to go bad, it's going to go all the way bad. And if something's going to go great, it's going to go all the way great. And it's never those two. It's always somewhere in the middle. And so remembering that today is not the day. Today is not the day that if you nail, then you're going to be president or something.
Oh my God, you're me. I do that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have to bring my, okay, perfect.
I didn't realize it until I live with my partner, both romantically and business partner. And
you married your manager too?
Well, neither. We're co-equals. We're co-equals.
Yeah.
But I noticed her doing it, and supporting each other emotionally is I was going to say a big part of our relationship. It's a big part of just relationships. But I noticed her doing it, and then I started noticing me doing it. And yeah, it's important to remember that the worst possible way things can go usually end up with you still surviving and just having tomorrow, and then the day after that. Until one day it doesn't. But that's a different story. Sorry. I mean, that's
why we don't want to get. Well, I'm not going to get y'all.
Think about it anyway.
So yeah, the big struggle is trying to take each day not as this is the day and I need to get up and make everything, and I need to make a thing that billions of people are going to see, and then I'm going to get a TV show or something. It's NDA, it's just Tuesday.
NDA.
Yeah.
NDA.
Oh, right. Thank you, Charles. Thank you. No, good. That's really good. Pacing it out.
Remembering that the stakes are not as high as you think they are.
Exactly. Giving your space to breathe and live in your own space.
Yeah,
exactly. I love that. I got to ask you too, when you're going between, again, just work for yourself, what's that snap, okay, I'm picking me or I'm picking them? What usually weighs that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got different clients, different things I'm doing for them. I've got some that I'm just doing digital advertising for, some I'm doing social media, some I'm doing, an entire YouTube channel. So I do a lot of different things. So I am also ADHD. And I found that this career was perfect for me because sometimes I don't feel like doing one thing, but there's something I'm hyper focused. I'm okay, I'm just going to edit video all day. So having different kinds of tasks, and depending on how focused I am or what my motivation is that day, I can knock something out. I've ascribed to the rule of, if there's something easy I can do to go ahead and knock it out, I do that because then I build that sense of accomplishment. Yeah. So my mornings are very chill. I'm having coffee, checking emails, and I'm also a night owl, so I'm not really super productive until the afternoon to early evening.
Look at y'all. I heard some night owls in the crowd.
Yeah. And then the balance, Monday through Thursday, I'm typically just hardcore. I just want to knock everything out, but I try to take Friday afternoons to be very chill, and my weekends, and try to focus on myself and my family, my friends.
As you should. Y'all need to make time for yourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate enough to be able to be a part of Brendan Bouchard's high performance coaching, and I've done a few of the sessions. And the biggest thing that I'm getting out of it every week's been something, from forgiving yourself and accepting yourself, and all that too, intent, and just saying, I'm going to make my way to this. You don't say how, you don't say when, just, I'm gonna make my way to this. And what he talks about is moving the needle every day, done by one. is what he's, and they're giving me like I have homework. I got a sheet that I got to go fill out with what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do for myself? And the big picture, then a little picture, then what am I doing every day? And it doesn't literally have to be one, but it's to not put it off, right? It's to be held accountable. But I've found just setting that intent to go, I am going to do this project. I am going to feed me. And I can stop and take the phone call for work and put it back down. And then you surround yourself with people. I have a partner. We run an ambulance company, and it takes a lot to do that. But he's always going, all right, man, I need you to get this running on its own so you get back over here to do not just our media together, but your media. And doing for others helps. I've been trying to do that with Tyra as well as she helps me push forward. I'm helping her. But you get people to push you to say, well, it's almost, have you had your break today? But what have you done for yourself today? What is your intent?
Okay, yes. Thank you for saying that, because every day, and I know, so my husband is a workaholic and he will go up until 2 a.m. working. For me, I'm different. I have to have one thing that I do every day that I enjoy, because I'll spend, again, 16 hours working for other people or my community, which is another person, honestly.
Sure.
Like, yeah, you got to think about yourself. Y'all, please do one thing, at least 2 things, really. Please raise the standard because mine's a low. Do 2 or 3 things a day that you enjoy, and try not to feel guilty about it, because it's really easy to feel guilty when you think there's something you got to get done. You're like, I could be using this time. It's a muscle you have to practice.
Guilt is the lie we tell ourselves.
Exactly. Please, Tyra, how do I see? You're all together. You got your coaches. You got like guidance. Like
I had 4 hours of sleep.
Oh my God. Okay, no, we're gonna bump
I'm
those
ready.
numbers.
I've had my vitamin water. I have not had breakfast though.
I
want
gotta
to
get you out of here.
I know, I'm good. I think what Charles brought up is, for me, it's learning to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I suck at saying no. I don't say no in my day job. I don't say no in all the other things I do. So I'm trying. My goal this year was to learn to say no. So I've started to say no.
You know you can tell me no, right, Tyra?
No, I can't tell. I can't tell Charles no either. But
That's why. But when you realize that about somebody, you got to hold back.
Yeah.
And so if you can't say no, I'm looking at Goo, because I know Goo, you want to say yes. And that's why I was like, well, just like in this case, I know you got a ton of panels, but I'm like, I'm only going to ask you for 2. If you want more, you can have more, because he won't say no, just like you won't say no.
Oh.
If you find somebody who will help you protect that no.
Having
that's
actually
true.
exact. I
My
hope y'all
bestie.
have. Can we speak to that for a second? What does y'all support circles look like? I know we've got like a small. I want to hear about you, because I don't think we've gotten to hear about your support. What is yours, Casey?
Just my friends and my family. My
Oh my
dad's
God, friends.
7 hours away and stuff, and I call him all the time.
Good. Oh, so you
Um,
regularly, because a lot of people don't do that, which
Yeah.
is so regularly for you is what?
Thank you.
Like, do you call every week, every day? Because that's my mama. She calls.
It depends on what's going on. Sometimes I'll call him 3 times a day.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh my gosh. I love
Yeah.
it.
So he's my good support system, and I'll just bounce ideas off of him.
So work. So you talk about work as well.
I talk about everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I talked to my dad about my work. He's like, all right, I'm done. He works in HVAC. So I'm like, the coils freeze today, Dad? He's like,
Yeah.
they did. Now I got to go back to work. Thanks, Chelsea. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. That's really good. It's good to have those relationships that you can share. And how has that helped you? Can you live without it?
No, it's just, having someone that, is there to listen to me, and my biggest cheerleader. He subscribes to my clients' YouTube, and he'll text me and be like, oh, that was so good. So I'm filming all of everything. So he's great. And then for my friends, I'll admit it, I am a workaholic. So they know pretty much Casey is not going to be available Monday through Thursday unless there's a birthday party or something they want me to go do. They know, send me the invite, and I will make sure I take that time off. But otherwise, during the week, I'm just go.
I've been getting better at spending time with my friends.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm like, all right, y'all, I have you scheduled in at 11:30, and I can allot for 4 extra hours if we get crazy. But I've been doing that. I understand. You just be busy, but you got to make the time.
Yeah.
What do y'all support circles look like? I know y'all have a little extra, which I recommend. If y'all can find time to find the extra guidance that they've got, it's totally worth it. But I want to hear from y'all. Like
honestly, like my
Yeah.
daughter is a big support system, which is really kind of funny with what I do.
yeah,
That my 9-year-old daughter is one of my biggest supporters because we're trying to raise her being very sex positive, very body positive, very in the world.
yes.
So
Mhm.
having her be aware of, what we're doing, what I do is like, I'm not having to choose between my job and being a good mother. I can
Yes.
do both.
It's important.
There is
Yeah.
nothing that with what I do with content creation that makes you be a bad parent.
Exactly.
She doesn't go to photo shoots, but
Right. No, but, it's good.
she
Yeah.
knows about what it is. She's here. I have a real name. That's not my real name. But my child has grown up in conventions that she doesn't call me by my real name when we are at a convention. If we are wearing a badge, you do not use my real name, and you do not tell people where you go to school. You do not use your own last name. She has been really grown up in this, and she is a great support system for that because she'll go through TikTok and be like, "Mommy, I really like that video. That was really funny." Or you looked really pretty in that video, Mommy. It's like she's super adorable about it. And then my current boyfriend, he is so not social media at all.
Oh, we got a
But
normie.
it's really cute because he doesn't follow me on any of my socials. He's
we need
like
to
that.
change that.
Well,
I'm
no,
sorry.
he is actually like,
Mhm.
he's like, that is your
Yeah.
job. That is your work. He's like, if you
Oh.
want to share it with me, you are more than welcome.
Okay,
And I would share
understand
stuff.
that.
But
Yeah.
he's like, you don't come to my job and stare at me while I work. He's like,
well, I wouldn't post it if I didn't want to. Okay, well, that's a whole nother conversation.
but
we
it's
can
like,
have. But I
I'll sit there and be
understand.
like,
Yeah.
look at this TikTok I did. This was really funny. It's got a lot of views. Like, oh my God, there's so many views. And he'll be like, that's really cool.
I like that.
Or, you looked really, he's like, if you want to share it with me, but I'm not going to go
That's good. No, that's good
Um,
conversational and just
because it's work.
exactly. Those are good boundaries with the people in your home, how you feed them versus your work. I understand that. That's really cool because your kid is learning great safety practices, great communication skills, and it's a way that you're building up your family from your work too. It can work together. Now, no, I want to know about you with this. Yeah, you, both of y'all
This
are
one.
managers. What's happening here? What's the dynamic like? I'm sure it's kind of like mine.
Have you ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Oh
At
God.
any given time, one of them is okay enough to take care of the other.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like.
Oh, got you.
But no, we also, frankly, I really mean it. Like, my dog is one of the biggest, like
What's their name? What's their name?
Bailey.
Bailey.
She's delightful.
I love Bailey.
So yeah, we're sort of going back and forth, and then we have Bailey, which is really nice. But our support, well, I don't want to speak for her. My support system, my family, great. My whole family group chat thing. I kind of stand back a little bit because they like what I'm doing, but they definitely don't understand it. So it's
Mine
hard to
either.
talk about specific stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like today was hard or whatever. I'm just now realizing that a lot of my support systems are internal, which doesn't really count, really, does it? Well,
It does.
yeah, it
Talk
counts
about
if it
it.
works, but my support systems are activities,
That's okay.
so-
It doesn't have to be people.
like going to my shop and shutting the door and
Yeah.
nailing wood together, trying to make a thing that makes a cool sound. Love doing that. Going outside helps a lot. Putting my bare feet in the grass helps a lot. Touching trees helps a lot.
Unplugging.
Unplugging, yeah.
Nature is your support system.
Part of
That's
it, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, well,
Please tell me more.
Something that's real. Something I talked about this at the other panel. I'll try not to just do this rant every time, but it's important to remember how just fundamentally, absolutely strange the world that we live in is. And I don't mean COVID's crazy, right? I mean the fact that we have right angles and stuff. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to know 50 people max in person, and we're supposed to go to sleep when the sun goes down and wake up when the sun comes out. That's what our brains evolved to do. In the same way that my dog, she evolved to smell stuff. You know what she does all day? She smells stuff, and she's got a great life. So one of my biggest supports is always stepping back and remembering that before everything, before being a content creator, before being a son, before being a partner, I am a human. And humans require certain things to be okay. What those are change all the time. It's pretty constantly water and food. Those are
Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah,
always across
usually.
the board. But then also just trying to root back into the fact that I am absolutely an animal that been born at a very strange time where suddenly we have stuff like this. And so trying to always center around that and remember that, like, whatever I'm going through, you are an ape. Literally, you're not, it's not an exaggeration whatsoever to say you are an ape. Like, remember that all this is weird. Go touch some grass.
I think that's
Reconnect.
why I like that my boyfriend isn't cooked into social media is because
Centering
when we are
it.
together and I'll put my phone down and not play
It's
with
natural.
it for hours because he
Yes.
doesn't do that. So it's like we'll go do things. We'll go to the park. We'll go, camping. We'll go do stuff. And it's like, that was kind of refreshing.
I love that. No, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't.
really nice.
Your support system can be very self-reliant as well. It doesn't have to just be you depending on someone all the time. You can go and take yourself out and support yourself too. That was a wonderful call out. So I think this might be our last question before we start taking questions from y'all. Y'all can join the discussion. I'm going to ask y'all one final thing. So some new creators start broad variety, things with their content. They want to branch out, while others focus on specific topics, specific genres. Now, if you had to recommend someone who is newly starting, would you recommend them to start more on the variety side or to be focused? Like, let's answer this specifically focused on balancing building a strong community with building an easily marketable brand. So that's your setting. What would y'all recommend? I'm gonna start over there. You look like you're thinking about it.
It depends on how you define brand by its nature, but my whole answer is you do you. And that means start with your brand. Because if you don't know who you are, and I've gone through this journey over almost 20 years now of discovering who I am, and I've had different communities. One's still thriving well without me. I left the community in there. But once you figure out who you are, for me, then that's the building the brand part, and then you build a community around that.
Okay, see, I like that. So yeah, I'm gonna put you down for variety. No, or really, you really can just do both. I see what you're saying.
Well, you do
what
what
you like.
works for you, but it really is that it's not focusing on one thing you talk about. It's focusing on who you are,
Yes.
and then that can lead you into either doing variety or, I mean, I've always admired Brian Ibbett. I got to work with him some. He's at almost 1,500 episodes of Coverville because he just loves cover songs, and he focused for almost 20 years now,
That's
and
a
it's
lot.
amazing. And I'm like, I can't squirrel. I mean, I got too many things I want to talk about, you know?
Yeah. So it's you. I like that. It's do you, whatever you and your compass align to. If you can play Apex 30 hours straight for 5 years, that's impressive. Right? Tyra, what would you tell me to do?
So I'm going to tell you that you start with brand, because if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're going to be talking about or who you're going to be targeting. So to me, before you start anything, you've got to understand yourself and start building that brand that's going to happen and add to it over time. But if you look at like my branding and you go back 15 years, it pretty much, you could recognize it as me. And so, but part of that's, I'm a marketer. It's my day job. I'm supposed to know that stuff. But I would start there. But I would also say start niche, because if you start small, you can grow. Being a big fish in a small fish in a big pond is going to be a hard journey. But being a bigger fish in a smaller pond, you can find more people.
That's beautiful. I like that. And I really like that it kind of melds with what Charles just said too. It's like, no matter what I'm doing, you just need to know I did it. And that's going to be clear for as long as I'm doing it. But I do agree. In some cases, depending on where you start, going niche is going to make the initial ride so much easier. Now, Casey,
Yeah.
we got to hear you.
Yeah. So the only thing about that, of course, is if you go niche and then you decide, hey, I want to branch out. Now you got to say, okay, well, is my audience going to respond to this? Are they going to think this is completely out of left field? So you do have to kind of think about that. But I would say it really depends on the person and like what their depth of knowledge is on, whatever topic, their passion that's going to come through if they're really passionate about something. So if someone has like just this one thing that they just really love doing and they want to focus on that, I'd say do that. If you have like, we'll call them content buckets, like 3 or 4 different things that you like to do, whether they're related or not, go with the variety. And then again, always going back to, the engagement and the numbers. If you see, okay, this one's doing a lot better than another one, if you still want to do that, you work harder on that other one, or you say, hey, maybe this isn't right for my channel and my brand.
Absolutely. I love it. Oh my God. These are all true. These are all right answers. If y'all have any questions, please, y'all start lining up right there at the front. There's a wonderful mic laid out for you, and we'll talk to you because you're human beings. We're going to respond because this is live content. And I want to hear the rest of y'all's answers while we get some queued up. So, niche, variety?
I think it depends what you're trying to do. Overall, I think niche in the beginning, but which one that is, I think starts with variety. So I think for one, if you're like starting TikTok for sure, easiest way to get actual like 0 to 60 traction. You might have to do variety in the beginning, just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall. But then when one of them hits, yeah, do that. Keep doing that to make the numbers do good things. And then once the numbers are doing good things, then you can start just doing other stuff. And then they're like, oh, dude, the guy who does like model trains is also a guitar or whatever it is. You know?
Oh, he's interesting.
And depending on the platform, like TikTok is really forgiving because it's people aren't going to unfollow you if they're not seeing you because they're not like when was the last time you went, oh yeah, I should unfollow that person. And
Yeah, no,
like,
yeah.
So
It's
if
too
you
much
do
work.
a bunch of unrelated things, you're going to have a certain set of people who really like your this content, a certain set of people who really like your that content, and they're never going to talk to each other. And neither of them are going to watch either of the other's videos, but still makes the numbers do good things.
Right.
So that Twitch is much more forgiving or much less forgiving in my experience when it comes to like, like I'm going to do a stream where I do this time. And it's like, no, you're not.
You made a mistake, buddy.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think it depends on what you're doing. If you're looking to make a bunch of money, niche, hard, throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. One of them hits, figure it out. How to do a post-mortem. How does it work? What is the beat structure? And just make a million of those, and you'll do just fine.
Awesome. Well, I want a question. Can I hear yours? Can you introduce yourself?
Sure.
Awesome. Oh yes, thank you. We have a warning. Thank you
Do
so
we have a
much.
mic? Yeah, we do. Okay.
Go ahead. What's your
So
name? What's
my
your
name,
name?
Steven Undesirables of PV Undesirables on Twitch. Thanks for giving me the chance to shout myself out.
Of course.
So when the more raw you seem to be, like the more you put yourself out there in kind of a very this is who I really am state, that does great for your community, having people who who really connect to you and that sense of knowing each other. But at the same time, it seems to, at least in my experience, make you incredibly unmarketable from a corporate standpoint. Like you're not going to get sponsorships if you're over here just being an undesirable, right? So, it's like that balance. Like I just gave up. I just like had my Viking funeral for corporate sponsorships and moved on. But like, is there a way to kind of balance that being raw and being true to yourself and just trashing brands when you really believe it, and then at the same time turn around and be like, could I get a sponsorship, Logitech? I know I really just crapped all over your product, but like, how do you do that?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I knew
Adult
you didn't know,
content
but
creators,
that's we talk.
like,
So
many brands don't want to be associated with adult content because it's going to tarnish their brand. They're not going to be family friendly.
Exactly.
So even though I do a lot of other things, that can tarnish my image to certain brands because, but it's like, come on, you realize how many dudes would buy something just because I said so?
Mhm.
Like,
how do y'all?
come on.
Yeah, I want to know. Like,
But
how
people
would
don't
y'all
want to get
balance
involved with that. Like it's
Exactly. Do y'all have like the answer? Because I know there's no answer, but like, what would you do? How do you share yourself in a true form, but also balance wanting to still work with other companies? And I know some of this might not apply to some of y'all because it's like a creator facing problem.
No,
But
I mean, I'm still
I feel like
pretty
you can
familiar
still
with this
speak on it.
concept. So,
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to be your authentic self? Is that what feels okay?
And that's why I had, like I
Then-
said, the Viking
then
funeral.
that is
for
more
it.
important. You don't want to be one of those like, plastic influencers, right?
Right.
That's not
But if I could
what
get
you
like
wanna
a
do.
free sponsorship, like if one of the like breweries would just send me beer, that would be great. Because like that's at least
Way
on
easier.
brand, right?
So I feel like there's so many brands out there. There's going to be someone that connects with you. It's just finding the right
Yeah.
fit. It's just like me with my clients. Like we pick each other. Like you and your sponsor will pick each other. So,
Yeah, find stuff that reminds you of you.
exactly.
You're not going to get IBM. That's fine.
Sure.
But there's going to be something that's going to go, that's a lovely mohawk that you usually have
I stopped.
I need that
Yeah.
sponsorship. I need to get with Got to Be immediately.
See?
Yeah,
I use so many of their
See,
products.
that's what you should be doing.
Right.
See, one of my long-term goals is to eventually curate a database or list of brands and companies that want to sponsor alternative creators
Hmm.
Yeah.
that don't
Yeah.
Oh my
fit
God.
into the mainstream.
Thank
And I
you.
want to try to work with that, and it's just trying to get into doing more content and being in front of more people to eventually get that exposure to curate that list.
And they're going to be alternative
Yeah.
brands.
Right.
So the
But-
same words you're using to describe you.
Right.
It's
But
gonna be-
that
but
makes a lot of
everyone,
sense.
and I think as those people in those positions are becoming a different generation, their
Exactly.
openness and they're willing to work with things outside the box is going to be a lot more forthcoming than it has been in the past.
And you,
I think we're gonna call them the strange sponsors. Did you want to add on
Yeah. No, that
you
makes
gotta
sense.
ask. You gotta put it out there.
Yeah.
that part?
I wear
Yeah.
jerseys a lot. This is going to make some away. I keep tagging them in my videos when I wear my jersey because I'm not sponsored by it. It's just the way they afford to do it. They put their own brand on there for me. And I'm like, sponsor me. I love
Yeah.
your jersey. I made a video about an unboxing from our kid who got her own jersey for her own show now. And so ask, put it out there because all I can do is block you. You're still going to love the stuff. So when you're
Yeah.
at stuff,
No,
you use Got to Be, which I'm
Right. I love this idea that
Yeah,
if
you
I have
talk
my
about
hawk
it.
up, I get a good picture of myself. Go
Yeah.
tag Got to Be. If I'm
Yeah.
drinking something Sweetwater, go tag them.
Your
Yeah.
CTAs.
Exactly.
Those kind of things that makes perfect sense to me
I
as
always
opposed to
ask
a more
for,
traditional brand.
Sobe fruit juices
Mhm.
sponsored me to the day they sold their brand and went out of business.
Right.
They
To
never sponsored me.
summarize,
But I
to
asked
summarize what this panel is putting together here, your CTAs, you need to go search brands, you need to make relationships with them, and you're going to have to go and network your butt off
Yeah.
with not just them, but the people who will support you as creators as well. So you do that, and I'm going to catch you next time. I'm going to get you.
But
Thank you for
But
your
real quick,
question. Oh, please.
poor Bud Light. Poor Bud Light. They
Yeah.
tried. They tried to
They
have someone
tried.
mild. Oh.
We could talk about that
Yeah.
any day. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, y'all are wonderful.
Oh,
Don't you
careful.
fall. I
Watch
swear
out
I
for
don't.
that
I
chair.
didn't have nobody signed waivers.
Hi.
Hi. It's so wonderful to meet you. What's your
Hello.
name?
I'm Will,
Hi, Will.
and so I have a digital media and communications background. So this is like my continuing education track because I graduated
Nice.
10 years ago
Cool.
before TikTok even existed.
I wish
So-
we could give you CEU.
I would love that. So background for this question. I work full time and part time. You know, we all got to pay the bills, but I'm looking to transition my content to full time. So that's where this comes from. So I've heard that if you want to make content creation like your livelihood, you need to treat it like a job. But how do you find the time to treat it like a job when you already work 60 hours a week?
Schedule. Set
Yeah.
aside time. Like,
And how do you avoid burnout too when you're
Yeah,
trying to balance
that's a
two
whole nother
until
panel.
your content starts
Yeah.
making enough money
I think
where
it's
you can
weird.
start backing off on the others?
I'm going to give my 2 cents on this because everybody's scheduling is very different, and not all of us can hold ourselves accountable to a specific format. But you're going to have to, when you have other responsibilities, when you have to pick between yourself versus your dream, right? And you have to still feed that. You're going to have to put that timeline down and get real with like, what am I going to be able to accomplish within a month, a year, half a month? Like, what can I do? And you start pacing that out for yourself, because once you start to feel that this is now becoming, it's a transition. You'll be like, wow, my part-time job is getting in the way of my real job. And then when you say that, that's when it's going to be the time. But you have to get real with yourself and make sure that you're doing everything that you can. You're taking every opportunity, because there are some opportunities that are going to come from you doing your content creation where you're like, I can't miss this. And that's when you're like, oh, wow, it's happening. So pace it out, really sit down and write down what you need to do for this. And you can see that timeline real fast. But is there anything y'all want to add to that when you start making? Yeah, please.
Yeah,
please.
well, I also wanted something that was surprisingly insidious. I didn't realize how important it was and difficult it would be to do. But understanding, yes, with scheduling, of course, you gotta mix up your time. But understanding for like your own brain, what time frame is optimal for scheduling. For example, if I schedule a month, what? Like that? Not within a day, I'm gonna be like, that's obsolete. I don't care anymore. So I do like, what am I gonna do this week generally? And then Monday. And that's like, what am I going to do today? Okay, by the end of the day, I want these things done.
I love it.
And then everything else, whatever. So that's like what works for me. But for a lot of people, it's like they need like their whole year planned out or the whole month. So figuring out what your brain likes to think of time as, and starting there. And then I had something else. And there it goes. Never mind. I think that's
No, that's getting real
I
with
can
yourself.
start talking, and then if you
Please.
think of it.
Yeah,
Go
please,
ahead.
please.
Sorry. So when I was like establishing my business, my LLC, going through all of the paperwork and everything, building the website, I already had a full client load. So I was already working 40, 50 hours a week. And I said, well, I've got to get this done. I really need this done. So, building the website, I said, all right, I'm going to set a goal for myself. 1 hour every day during the week, just 1 hour. I can commit to that. And then what would happen is it would be 1 hour, then 2 hours and 3 hours, because I was just getting the ball rolling and I was loving it so much. And before I knew it, like it was done. So
I love it. So what you got? Jump into it. Get real with how to schedule with yourself, because I know I'll look and I'll be like, okay, I said I was gonna schedule out this week. That's not happening now. I had to get comfortable with me.
Especially when you're neurospicy and time blindness.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
find somebody to hold you accountable and
Yeah.
put those timers up. And
Yeah.
you know you better come back next year, and I'm gonna remember you. I'm gonna be like, so how'd it work out? What'd you do? Thank you for your
Thank you.
question. Thank
Actually,
you.
I just wanted to add one thing
One more?
real quick. I promise.
Please.
This is not my quote. It's
He likes it.
content creator, a content creator friend of mine named Nerdy NER-D. He said this, not me. But when you start doing something professionally, you're gonna like it less.
Oh,
That's just what's gonna happen.
it's a job.
It's a
Get
job.
real with that.
Exactly. So if you're gonna aiming to do something professionally, make sure you love it, because you're gonna like it less when you're doing it professionally. So if you like something now, you're gonna not like it when you. So
I
you make
attest
sure
to
it's something
this.
you love to do.
It's
I
because of the
100%
drive.
disagree with you.
Really?
Oh
I-
my god!
No, I'm sorry.
a fight's happening.
yeah.
I actually love it more.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's
Because-
great for you, Tyra.
I
Okay.
love
I'm
that for
so
you,
happy
Tyra.
for you being on your
But
pedestal.
if you love it, I mean, when you get into it and you
Yeah.
be immersed
That's
in
great,
it,
you know?
it's a
Some of
beautiful,
us-
awesome thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because being professional implies that you're getting better, and
Yeah, and
getting
you
better
get-
is
Can we get your
Absolutely.
loving your job
Absolutely.
panel, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
I only
Hi,
love parts
it
of my
is-
job.
Yeah. I like seeing
It's
my
wonderful
skills
to
get
see
better.
you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
like that is so fun.
Thank you. Yeah, they got me.
We're here together.
Yeah.
There we go. Could I please have your name? Thank you so much for coming up. And what's your question?
Oh, all right. So I am a Twitch streamer that goes under the name Don't Gamer.
Come on.
DOANEGAMER.
Done
And,
gamer?
Yes.
I like that.
And DOANEGAMER.
Okay.
Got you.
gamer.
All right. Anyway.
Take your
I-
time. Yeah.
All right. So simply a chill gamer that usually streams 1.5 hours every day.
I love
Wow.
that
Good on
for
you.
you.
And I usually play through single player games five days, and
Nice.
2 other days I play through some online multiplayer games just to mix things up a bit.
Nice.
Committed.
All right, so interestingly, I was going to ask a question related to scheduling. So, I used to have an old schedule in which I would stream like in the weekdays at night. Oh,
Yeah, get a little closer. I want to hear you
Mhm.
because I'm invested.
sorry about
No,
that.
you're perfect.
All right, so I used to have an old schedule in which I would stream like on the weekdays at night, like
Yes.
8:30, and then on the weekends at 12 at noon. But due to changes in personal life, whether it be like a change in like a shift in a career, something like that,
Got you.
I kind of had to like inverse the time in which I do streaming at 12 at noon on the weekdays, and then at night on the weekends. I'm just wondering, like, how would you deal with such change in scheduling in time when you have to go through like some personal
changes in life.
Communication.
No, you're such a good moderator because you brought up the question I was supposed to ask everyone. That's a wonderful question, and literally you need to say it, and they're gonna say this too, so I'm just gonna jump before they do it. You need to remind everyone everywhere possible, whether you're on Twitter, but if you have a TikTok, if you don't have a Twitter, get those, and you start telling people to follow those platforms. So everywhere, no one can avoid you. You are posting at least twice a week. Hey guys, my schedule's changed, and you're saying it periodically throughout your streams too. And if you can afford to stream a little more, an hour and a half is great. I bump it to 2, maybe 3, because you want to spend more time, but I know not everybody has it. So if you can, but you need to say it a lot because you have to repeat it a million times to people. But please, did I hit on that? Did I do that, y'all?
Yeah,
I did that. But please,
Communication.
Yeah.
You let people know things change. Because as a parent, yeah, I may be scheduled to stream tomorrow at 8:00, but kid's got a lot of homework. She's got a project. We got to go do just something. She's just in a bratty mood because she's 9. You know, whatever it is, it's like it's gonna change. So hey guys, I didn't disappear. Life.
Yeah, there you go.
See you next week.
You gotta tell them.
One thought. So I actually haven't posted content on Twitch, but I've watched it. So I know a lot of times you'll see things that were like pre-recorded and they'll play it. So you could just add a subtitle during your normal time, play an old video, and say for the new one, tune in this time.
Do they
Yeah,
do
the
reruns? You
Yeah.
should do reruns. That'll help at least make up for time too. And you can
Yeah,
put your own
that's-
banners.
that's-
That's so smart. You're so smart. Oh my gosh.
Giving away
Anything
flash.
else you want to
Flash.
add? Is that how we're going to tackle this problem?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Just generally, I've found that the audiences are okay with changes. Like some people have to work at the new time, so they can't come. But it's mainly just about them knowing. So just at the end of the previous stream, by the way, remember this Friday I'm streaming from whenever to whenever. So
Catch me.
you know,
Notifications. Look at my schedule on Twitch. Put a bell to it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that helps.
Like, subscribe, and follow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh.
Smash that like button.
Obliterate.
I do admittedly sometimes make use of Discord where
Nice.
There you go.
I sometimes communicate with other folks who do Twitch streams.
Nice.
Nice.
Look at
That's
him
a great
giving
way to do
tips.
that, yeah.
So everybody,
Right.
Discord too. Useful. Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And guys,
Great question.
yeah, that was a wonderful question. I think that's our time. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank y'all. Thank you to our guests. Please follow them. All of their socials are here. And do not forget to go ahead and scan that QR code for Cure and for, of course, Zakat. If y'all have any questions, thank you so much. If y'all have any questions, I'm here. I'm around. Y'all don't have to wait. Y'all can jump on us too. Thank you so much.
You're
And y'all have
welcome.
a wonderful, wonderful day.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Chelsea, for doing
No,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.